Hello everybody, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thank you for joining me. We are now doing our weekly live readings that I usually do on Friday or Saturday nights, kind of switching it up a little bit on you guys this week. It is Friday, super stoked to be here, and we're doing live tarot readings. Those of you guys who are new to my channel, please do like and subscribe, click that bell button, and be on the alert when we are putting out some of these readings. Every week I have videos that come out on either Sunday or Monday for the astro weather to give predictions for the week ahead for all the 12 signs, and we give insight into what to expect during the new moons and the full moons and any major planetary transits, and with a little bit of tarot peppered in here and there. Those of you guys who are circling back to my channel, welcome back. Nice to see you. Big thank you to all of our subscribers, those of you guys who have been supporting the channel. We really appreciate it. And just want to give a shout out to everybody like Paula, Catherine, Hera, Nancy, Sam Norton, Jen, Phoenix, Jessica Martinez, Angeli, Emma, and Susan Wexler. Thank you guys for supporting this and making this happen. I really appreciate it. And want to give a special shout out, especially to the level 3 people. We've already got a couple people this month, but if you are a level 3 subscriber and you want to be able to get your check-in reading, you can catch me here obviously tonight, and hopefully we're going to try to figure out a time around the holidays and the next week to do another live and get some more astrology in. So like Paula or Nancy, Sam, Phoenix, and Jessica Martinez, if you guys are here, if you'd like to get your reading, let me know. Everybody else, it looks like we already kind of got for the month of December. Hello, Asha. Nice to see you. Welcome back. How's everybody doing? We are the eve of the full moon in Gemini, so certainly there's like a lot of just weird, funky energy out in the air. So definitely, I think a good time to get a reading, right? Because Gemini being all about information, especially the full moon's making trines to Jupiter. So it almost seems as if we're kind of in a situation right now where we're getting ready to have a breakthrough. So I'm really digging the trines that are happening to Jupiter and kind of highlighting where we're expanding and going further into our future destiny. Once I find out if there's any live level 3 people who are in the chat that would like to get their reading. If not, we're going to move on to people who are already in the queue and have purchased readings. If this is your first time, there is a QR code somewhere down here, around here, you'll see it. You can scan that with your phone, or you can also click the link that is in the information box. We might also plug that into the chat. We're doing live readings, so it's $20 for one card, and it's going to be $40 for a 3-card spread. Ask whatever you like, and we'll be doing that live, obviously, on YouTube. If you guys are super into tarot and astrology, make sure to just keep on the up and up with this channel, because there's going to be new content coming out pretty soon. If you guys are not aware, we're getting ready to do a live show that's going to be on New Year's Day. We're going to stream live. It's going to be donation based, and we're going to talk all about the astrology of 2022. So I've been working on that. I'm super stoked to be doing that for you guys. We do have Alma who asked a question. I don't know if she's in the chat. Alma, if you're here, will you let me know? Otherwise, we can do the reading, and it looks like she's just asking for a general 3-card reading. So if we don't hear from anybody, I'm going to move on to Alma. Just working with the traditional Rider-Waite deck to start off with. Hello, Toddman. Welcome back. Is that you? I'm not sure. Sometimes your guys' names differ from YouTube versus PayPal. So just a heads up, if you guys do make a purchase and your name is different on PayPal than it is on YouTube, just let me know so I know who is who. And if you're just here to watch, that's awesome too. So Alma's asking questions about a 3-card reading. So if she's not here, hopefully she might get that playback. Those of you guys who are just tuning in, or if you want to get a quick question, and if you are hoping to do the playback, you can go back once the live is done and you can watch. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So she has a question about, well, general, and it will be 3 cards. Nice to see you. All right, so this is going to be for Alma. Notice that all three of these cards are coming up reversed. So this may represent an energy that is stuck or blocked or trying to break through, or an issue revolving around something that's going to be much more personal or internal, right? So obviously we like to see the cards upright. If they're reversed, it represents some kind of blocked energy. Page of Wands coming up reversed talks about a false start, or the possibility that there is a sense of going at things and not really being too structured or too organized. Page of Wands can also be somebody who's like a younger fire sign energy that can come in. That's almost kind of like a bull in a china shop. It's somebody who's a little clumsy, or they don't exactly have a plan. They're not exactly sure how they're going to be able to work on a creative project or bring something together. Think of like pages almost as like younger people or like children. So if you were to give a little kid a wand, right, they're going to run around and they're going to kind of like make a mess and kind of like beat things up. So Page of Wands reversed I kind of see as like a kind of like a blocked or conflicting or challenging. Maybe it's challenging for you to feel like you can harness your energy right now. Maybe it's challenging for you to feel like you have an outlet for your creativity. There is a sense maybe of dealing with like frustration or delays, especially relating to wand related things. This can also represent actually blocked energy. So you can be like, okay, I know I want to get more active. I know I want to do something different. Especially I'm looking at this Temperance card coming up in the final position being reversed. So it talks about energy's not quite lining up, timing being off. So if you're somebody who's like, I really want to launch a new project, or I want to take a hobby to the next level, and I have this creative idea and I want to make it happen, it's saying that like timing is off, or there's some aspect where you don't quite have everything that you need right now in order to be able to make some kind of energetic shift. This can also represent physical healing, or the need to actually slow down and kind of ground your energy out and strategize before making changes. The Temperance card is a card that comes up in association sometimes with Sagittarius or Jupiter. So I'm wondering if you have any needle Sag placements, or maybe just the transits of the planets having go through Sagittarius. Mars is there right now. The Sun is there right now. So you may want to take a look at where Sag is in your chart. Now we've got the Two of Wands coming up. So it is saying that if you have felt like you're going at things in a very clumsy way, or that things aren't quite panning out the way that you've wanted them to, or there's been delays in you feeling like you can really express yourself creatively or even sexually, because the Wands can be a card that talks about your sexual energy, then there is almost like this sense of turning inward and revisioning your direction. So reworking what direction you're going in, or maybe even your strategy. So re-strategizing, regrouping. I'm using a lot of re's. There's a lot of retrogrades that are going to be coming pretty soon. So I feel like over the next 2 weeks, 2 months, you have an opportunity to really kind of go, okay, what is my purpose? What direction am I going in? What is going to pan out? What is important for me in terms of my vision? I see like the Two of Wands almost as being like your vision and what is possible. Once we get to the Three of Wands, we actually move forward. We actually start orchestrating change. We decide where on the map we're going. We start the process of working on something. So I'd say really take the next 2 weeks, 2 months to like really be in this process. Once again, time is of the essence. So there does seem to be some sense of needing to get things moving, but at the same time, Temperance is saying you can't rush the process. The Temperance card is like a crock pot, right? You have to throw all your ingredients in there and kind of let it set up and come together. So when Temperance is coming up reversed, it's saying you don't rush, take your time. This can also be a sense of like really focusing on endurance and like kind of getting things either energetically or physically moving and shaking, so you can get kind of more of an idea of what you're capable of doing. Like if I were to look at this, I'm like, wow, this person's almost like training for a marathon, and you have to learn to be able to do that power walk before you can do the jog, before you can do the long distance running. So if it's creative projects, romantic interests, being able to turn a hobby into a side hustle, being able to just feel like you're getting your energy flow moving again, you need to take your time. Now, healing to some extent may be a part of the process. And what I like about the Temperance card is it can be talking about moderation and balance. Being that it's reversed, it's saying that energies are not quite flowing. So it may materialize as somebody coming into you, into your life, giving you the opportunity to kind of give you perspective or help you with the process of healing. Temperance Reverse can indicate that there is a blockage that's going on internally and you need some assistance. So whether this is like going and working with a healthcare practitioner, working with a Reiki healer, working with a therapist, working with a spiritual advisor, somebody who gives you some kind of insight and helps you with the process of aligning everything so you feel like you can move forward. I do get the impression with all of these wands reversed that there almost seems to be like either an energy blockage, a passion blockage, losing your interest in something, feeling like the lights are dimming, not totally thrilled about the direction that things are going in. And what I love about Temperance is it's basically telling you it's not that things aren't going to work out. It's not that you're not going to get through this. It's just that you need to actually take the time to really kind of strategize with what your goals are. To me, it's almost like this energy is a lot of like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. And you're getting frustrated because it seems like no matter what you do, nothing's sticking. So there is a need for you to really focus on harmonizing energies, you know, taking time, balancing out your physical or your emotional health, balancing out your energies, and making it possible for you to heal or kind of rebalance before you take the next step forward. Really doing that work over the next 2 weeks to 2 months is going to be helpful. Stay on the lookout for fire signs. So it can be Aries, Sagittarius, or also equally Leos who come into your life to help you with the process of kind of like rebalancing things. This may be talking about a real emphasis in working with archangels, working with Gabriel, or anybody who's going to protect your energy, maybe working with Raphael for helping you heal in a sense. Hello, everybody's tuning in. Hi, Heather. Hi, Alma. There you go. Alma, if you're watching this right now live, just a heads up, when you go and you want to watch your reading, you're going to have to wait until the live is over to do the playback. So I apologize, but we just got done talking about your reading. The long and short of it is, I feel like Sag season is really going to help you through this process. And if you have a goal in mind, or if there's some kind of goal that you're kind of setting off in the distance, you want to focus on a series of small goals in increments of 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years before you get to that point. Temperance Reverse is also kind of saying that look for some of the shifts happening around the springtime. That's what I love about the Temperance card. You see the daffodils coming up, which represents new life. You see all of the water and 1 foot in and 1 foot out, which talks about the clearing properties and the healing properties of working with the element of earth and water, and that mixture between the two, that until we do the emotional work or the emotional shifts, you'll see that the physical things actually change. The sun is rising in the distance, so you also see the opportunity for a light to be shined on something that's going to be coming into your awareness. And the 2 cups are going back and forth, and it's this exchange of energy that's saying you need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It may not all be that you need just spiritual healing. It may be that you need kind of like a much more of like a focus on your physical energy, your emotional energy, your spiritual energy, and everything is going to blend into one. Let me know how it goes. Hopefully that's helpful for you. I feel like you may be somebody who just benefits in doing some kind of work in meditations or prayers or connection with certain archangels to help you through the process so you can kind of get the healing and be able to feel like there's a rainbow on the other side of whatever has been going on. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, so let's see. So we've got Pharaoh. Thank you very much. General reading. I appreciate that. Also, if there's any people who tune in who are level 3, just let me know. We'll get you in. Thank you for your patience. All right. And we also got Heather. So Heather, you will be next up in just a moment. All right, Mr. Pharaoh, let's give you a general reading and see what comes up. Hi, Selena. Thanks for tuning in at work, Alma. I appreciate it. The Tower reversed. Pharaoh, where is Sag in your chart? Do you know? Where is Sag in your chart right now, according to your ascendant sign? Mars is in Sag right now, and Mars is conjunct the South Node. So the Tower is very Mars energy, very Saturn, Uranus squares as well. The good thing is that, you know, the Tower coming up reverse does seem to insinuate like whatever needed to be cleared out, or whatever crisis needed to come about, or whatever shocking situation or awareness needed to kind of come about has already happened. So personally, I'm a fan of having this card reversed rather than having it upright, because when it's upright, it's kind of the warning that's like, hey, shit's about to hit the fan. Okay, 8th house. So when it's reversed, it's basically saying whatever's come up has already come up for you. If you have Sag going through your, or Mars going through your 8th house, the good news is that's a very strong place to have Sag, but it's making you aware that there are certain energies here that are coming up that almost needs to be disrupted, or you need to be aware of, because it's toxic, or it's not helpful, or it's creating some sense of imbalance. So if you have Sag in your 8th, then that tells me that you have what? Cancer rising, because Gemini is your 2nd house. So Cancer rising, obviously, I mean, you got a lot of energy with Pluto in your 7th house. So to me, I would be really aware of whatever has come about in Sag season, or as a result of these Mars transits, that was like, I gotta cut this out. This isn't helping me. Or this actually needs to be purged from my energy field or from my subconscious. The Tower reverse also kind of talks about finally being in the beginning phase of being able to rebuild. So when I see this card, it's also like similar to anybody who's ever seen like a demolition or a complete rebuild from the ground up, where people come in, they're like, this is the house we want to kind of get rid of. We want to rebuild the foundation. Let's clear it out. You are in the clearing out phase. You may not feel like you're coming out of the clearing out phase until planets fully move through your 8th house. So Mars is going to go there for a little bit. Eventually it's going to change signs and it's going to go into Capricorn, which I feel like if that is the tail end of your 8th house, that's awesome. That clearing is really going to just keep on keeping on until about March. Wait, Taurus is rising, so maybe it wasn't my 8th. So if you have Taurus rising, no, it's in your 8th house. Whole sign, it's your 8th house, but it is going to be part of your 8th house one way or another, because Scorpio's in your 7th. So no, you're correct. But still, to some extent, part of your 8th house and Mars going through there, you have to understand, Mars rules your 12th. So you've got it both going through your 8th house and it's your 12th house ruler. Perhaps maybe you're clearing out past life drama, you're clearing out some kind of karma relating to where you have self-isolated or separated yourself from other people. I also get the impression that these shocking events that are coming up for you are meant to be something that is not so much enlightening, but empowering, right? Because it's like, well, there goes that. That's been wiped out. Now it's time. Now we have a clean slate. We can rebuild from the bottom up. So if you're a Taurus rising, I would say one thing that you really want to think about is the beauty of the spiritual purge, the opportunity that you have once you've cleared everything out to go, okay, now we can start anew. Super helpful, especially once you start seeing Jupiter kind of segueing and getting into Aries in the spring. I think you're going to find that whatever death situation or clearing situation you're going through right now is actually going to give you the opportunity to go deeper into your belief system. I mean, there's so much happening for Taurus risings right now. I mean, especially because Venus is your ruling planet and you've got Venus conjunct Pluto. So there's a lot happening regarding your beliefs, right? And sometimes shit happens and people will look around and go, well, why me? Why did this happen? Why is this happening? Why is this taking place? People don't realize that the Tower card happens right before we get the Star card. The Star card is the healing. It is the union. It is the ability to come together with the collective, to heal and find your spiritual purpose, the ability for you to be able to kind of come together with other people. So for Taurus risings right now, you may feel like a little bit of a lone ranger and that some of this chaos is happening and it's kind of separating you or isolating you in a way, to which I would say, this is a beautiful opportunity to completely reimagine all of your beliefs. Anything that you no longer believe in, time to chuck, time to let it go, time to say, okay, well, obviously this is bringing me some kind of spiritual enlightenment. questioning my belief system, questioning my purpose. And through some of this clearing, it's actually going to give you an opportunity to connect with new things. So it's going to be quite positive for you in the end. You're really crazy. Awesome. But once you start getting into Capricorn season and you're seeing like the sun and Venus, and you're going to see the Mercury retrograde and all these planets linking up in your 9th house, it may very well be a complete new belief system. That's the vibe that I'm kind of getting, just knowing what you're telling me about your astrology. And you might go from believing one thing and practicing one thing to something completely different. And it's here to bring you strength. So that's the one thing that I would really kind of think about. Give it some time to kind of shake out. February, March, things are going to start to clear. But right now we want to really welcome that complete clearing so we can kind of start from the ground up. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. Hey Nancy, nice to see you. Happy to read for you. If you have a question, let me know what I can answer for you. Heather, I'll be with you shortly. Not sure what info you need. Leo Sun, Cancer Moon, Sag Rising, general reading. All right, Heather, I'll get you right after I talk to Nancy. Wheel of Fortune, happy to read for you. Just check out the PayPal or the super chat. And if you guys send a PayPal, just let me know so I know that you have sent a payment. Nancy, you're on deck. Let me know what I can tell you, and then I will be with Heather. Take a look at what Heather has to say. 3-card reading. Heather, let me know if you want a general reading or if you have a specific question. But I can tell a lot just off what you told me. Sag Rising, Cancer Moon, Leo Sun. Add you to my list, Nancy, so I know that we chatted. Any new love interest? This Venus RX. Let's see. I'm excited to see the Venus Cazimi around the beginning of January. And Venus and Mars move through Capricorn. Really good if you're an earth sign, sun, moon, or rising. It's going to be really, really good for you all. So let's see what the cards have to say for Nancy. Is there any new love interest coming her way during the Venus retrograde? 1, 2, 3. Nancy, I have a question for you. I know this sounds really weird, but like, have you connected with anybody whose name is like Sam or Solomon, or anybody whose name starts with an S? But Sam Solomon, something about that. Thanks, Heather. Virgo Sun, Leo, Moon in Leo, Pisces Rising. Okay, cool. Really great that you're a Pisces Rising and you're a Virgo Sun. Hi, look at these cards. Look at these cards, Nancy. Full Temperance and the 9 of Cups. The new year's really going to change things for you in a very big way. When the Fool comes up upright, okay, pay attention for names that sound like that. First or last name, especially S's, seem to be really important for whatever reason for you. You know, I don't usually like say stuff like that, but that seems pretty prominent. The Fool can talk about the new year. The Fool can talk about Uranus. The Fool can talk about taking chances, doing things that are different. And being that it's coming up in the previous tense, it's kind of saying you have remained open. There has been a sense of you kind of being like, listen, whatever the world throws at me, I'll give it a shot. I'll try anything. But also realizing that I don't really get the impression that you're just looking for something that is going to be a quick connection, right? The Fool card can represent maybe people have kind of come and gone in the past. You have given people too much of a chance. You've jumped into something hoping it was going to pan out. You've had experiences. There's been adventures. You've learned a lot in relationships, but you're kind of like moving on from that phase now. The Temperance card has now made its second appearance. So clearly it's telling everybody timing is everything. I think we're going to see this a lot this evening. It's coming up a lot in my personal readings with clients. The Temperance card is saying like, just wait and listen, see what kind of comes about. It can also be talking about you being in a phase of your energies just kind of balancing out right now. And you're more conscious and aware of who you engage with, who you mix your energy with, whether that's who you invite into your life, who you invite into your bedroom, who you invite into your home. So the Temperance card is saying, like, take your time. There's no need to rush. These cards could not be any opposite. The Fool is like, okay, fuck it, we're going into it blindly, versus the Temperance card, which is kind of like, I don't know, let's wait and see. Let's let everything kind of come together and marinate. Let's see if the timing works, if the time is right. So it wants you to be acutely aware of the fact that time is actually on your side. You do have some kind of, there's something going on either etherically or up there that is orchestrating events and trying to make sure that you've had enough time to heal from just people who rush in, rush out, right? Especially the Fool in the previous card or the past card. It's like fools rush in. So Temperance means anybody who's going to come at you very quickly and be like, hey, I'm ready, you know, let's do all of this and let's be together and let's talk about a future and let's jump into something. You're going to be like, I don't really know about that. Pump your brakes. Not in a bad way, but just in a sense that you're like, okay, let's see if things actually pan out, right? Slow and steady wins the race. Now your final card is also coming up, which is saying with the Nine of Cups that you're going to get what you want. I'm wondering, has something been coming up for you where you're like thinking about going on a retreat? Have you been thinking about speaking with a healer or working with a healer or working with somebody who can actually shift your energy? Have you been thinking about going on a trip and going and just like unwinding and spending time in a place? Has that come up for you at all? Because it can be talking about an actual geographic change in your location where, let's say, you go out of town for the weekend, or maybe you plan a vacation and you go somewhere and it's somewhere that you've always wanted to go, right? I think about your energy. I mean, if you read Virgo horoscopes, you got Uranus hanging out in your 9th and this Venus retrograde in your 5th, which is saying go out, have fun, travel somewhere, have a good time, take a course, take a lesson, get away for the weekend. If you read your horoscope for Pisces, you're going to hear things like, well, Jupiter's on your ascendant and you're going to be feeling like you need to kind of go out and about and you need to do things. And perhaps maybe for Virgo predictions, you're going to hear stuff about meeting somebody who travels a lot. I would pay attention to restlessness right now, both in a sense of your interest and what you're wanting to learn, but also in a sense of where you physically are. And be really open to that, especially over like the next 9 weeks or so. To some extent, it makes me feel like you might go, I need a weekend. I need to just cut loose. I need to go somewhere, have a good time, relax, hang out, go and do the things that I want to do. Maybe stop somewhere where I can go and do some spiritual healing, connect with nature, maybe stop and interact with people that I feel like are going to fill my cup up. And in the process of experiencing my bliss, oh my God, this person shows up and they're doing the same thing, right? Yep. Utah trip is personal development class. Awesome. Keep doing that stuff, because 2 things are going to happen. One is it could literally materialize as while you are in the process of traveling, you connect with somebody who's also trying to find themselves. Or 2, you going and doing this is going to completely like rework all of your energy field. And it's going to be therapeutic just in the process of going and doing that work and being there and traveling and then coming back. And then you're like totally blissed out when you return. In my opinion, the Nine of Cups is one of the best cards you can get. So it's the yes card. It's the wish card. It's the card that comes up when somebody says, are they going to return to me? Are we going to be together forever? Am I going to meet somebody? Am I going to get the job? Nine of Cups is saying, whatever you're wishing for is going to happen. However, all in due time. Realize that when you're working with the universe, you can ask for something, but if you're not specific, it'll just kind of throw anything at you, right? So the Fool is kind of saying, like, you can rush into something or you can balance things out and realize that your energy is very kind of, in a way, like Play-Doh right now. And you're kind of trying to kind of move things around and reorganize things and sculpt and mold that into ultimately what it is that you want to bring into your life. So pay attention to the fact that your energy levels are changing. You're coming into a very strong manifestational period, and you may bring in exactly what you're asking for, but it's going to be in another zip code, right? There's something about this that's kind of saying you're also going to meet somebody who's on the path of travel, the path of self-awareness. Look for people who have a lot of like Uranus or Jupiter placements in their chart, maybe very strong in a sense of Sag, maybe very strong in a sense of also Aquarius energy. These seem to be the 2 that kind of are associated with these cards. I also feel like you may meet somebody who gives you a bit of really solid advice. Like I remember pulling these very same cards once, pretty much in the same sequence. And it was right when I was like, do I go on that trip? Do I go and do that? I keep feeling like this is coming up for me. I need to go to this place. And I went to the place. I traveled to the city. I had no idea why I was supposed to be there. I spent a week there just kind of roaming around, found myself in a bar. And this random person who was like a backpacker, very much the fool, came up to me and we had a whole conversation. And the conversation we had was literally this temperance 9 of Cups moment. If you want me to get real with you, it was like temperance can be about exchanging information and knowledge, but it can also be about drinking. Look at all these cups. So I had all these drinks with this random stranger in the city I've never been to. And this guy told me his life story. We went back and forth and he was like this random dude who was just traveling through the country, backpacking, and told me about all of his adventures. And he gave me a lot of life advice. And he said some things to me that really resonated. And then it was like, once I left the bar, I was like, oh, the trip was over. I needed to have this conversation with this person that shifted my whole perspective on life and like what I'm doing. And it actually spurred me going off and doing a bunch of things that ended up actually really making me very happy and changing my life. Anyway, whether it's going and following your intuition into doing some stuff regarding this healing work or this course or this self-development stuff, do it. You may have an experience with a teacher or a healer or a mentor or somebody who's going to shift your perspective and just give you that energy boost that you need to feel like everything's coming into place. Or it's going to end up manifesting as in the process of you being somewhere else, you're going to bring somebody in who's also on the path to self-awareness and healing, and it could be a match. But just be mindful of your thoughts right now because you're creating a lot of things that you're going to kind of be surprised at in the new year. Having Jupiter on your ascendant is definitely going to be the next couple of months of really getting into the state of just being aware of your thoughts and how you're thinking and what you're bringing in, because you can bring things in very quickly that will totally shift your perspective on life and even where you may be living, right? So just be mindful of that. But yeah, nevertheless, travel and remain open to all of the weird synchronistic things that might be happening in the process of that. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, Heather, got you next for a 3-card reading, and she said it is general. And you are a Sag rising, Leo sun. So your sun is somewhere in the 8th or the 9th house, and you've got a Cancer moon, which is definitely going to be in your, 8th? Eighth house, I'm going to assume. I don't know. I'm a Placidus reader, so I like to look at the chart. But let's see what you need to be aware of for a general reading. You're very welcome, Nancy. Hey, Let's Glow. How's it going? Thanks for joining us. All right, so this is for Heather. She's got a general reading. Hey, SR. 7th. Okay, awesome. Holy cow, mama. Death card, the Star card, and the 4 of Cups. Okay, here's the deal. You're coming off of the eclipses. So there is still a lot of energy revolving around what you're releasing and what you're letting go. Okay, South Node is still kind of chilling and doing its thing, hanging out in Sagittarius. And it will be there until the new year. We're coming up on a full moon that's in Gemini, which is highlighting this axis somewhere between your 1st and your 7th house. So there's no coincidence that the Death card is coming up. I think it's talking about what you're clearing out. I think it's talking about acknowledging that certain patterns are over, certain relationships are over, certain people are leaving your life, things are changing. This is in the previous or the past position though. So it is kind of saying like, you know, you've been through some shit the last year. Ask any Sag rising, they'll tell you. The last 18 months has been a lot of peaks and valleys, and there's been a lot of having to learn to let go in order to go deeper into what is possible. So the Death card can literally talk about endings, relationship endings, transformations, things that come to a completion in order for things to be reborn. Loving that the Star card is coming up right now, because I feel like it is reminding you that you're still in a healing process or a healing cocoon. This is very much about Mars. This is very much about Saturn or Uranus, depending on how you look at it. And guess what? We've seen a lot of squares that have been happening in Scorpio season from these two signs. So for you personally, the Star card is like, okay, well, you know, I'm going back to myself. I'm going back to my friends, my community, my network. Maybe certain things have kind of fallen off for me, but it's making space for what's new. One of the biggest challenges that I think you're going to experience probably over the next, maybe you're feeling it now, the next week, is that we're going to have this full moon that's happening in Gemini, okay? And it's squaring Neptune. So for a Sag rising, it's like, how do I feel? Why am I in my feelings? Why do I feel like I'm tripping up on my emotions? I'm drudging up the past. There can be this feeling of like, where is my family at? Where is my soul tribe at? Where am I meant to be? And it's very emotional. I would say, being that the Death card is a card associated with the water element, being that the Star card is associated with air, but also there's a lot of water here because it's talking about pouring into the collective. As a Sag rising, having the sun going into Sagittarius and also hitting the galactic center, you are almost a little vessel or a beacon for absorbing all of the stuff that's going on in the collective. So I'm wondering, do you have anything around 26, 27 degrees of Sag? Just curious, any planets or anything like that, or even your rising sign? Something about this makes me feel like you're not just absorbing your stuff, you're absorbing stuff from the collective. Taking a bath, burning incense, clearing that energy around you, allowing you to be in the process of mourning, because you got to really work all that stuff out of your system, right? For you to be able to fully heal and move on. So as you're going through changes personally and also within your physical body with the eclipses in your first house, there is a sense of still working out old pain or old trauma or old patterns. And that's kind of happening between, you know, now and I would say the end of January. You know, this talks about a period from about October to February of a real clearing. The Star card does also talk about healing that's going to come from this, and like being able to feel like you can reconnect with other people. Now, the Four of Cups is also saying, like, don't get so in your feelings right now that you're not giving yourself credit, or you're not giving yourself a pat on the back for the changes you have made. Many Sag risings that I've spoken to and encountered over this last year got rid of shitty relationships. They got into healthier patterns. Some of them lost weight. They became more physically active. They've had a lot of physical changes. And here's what I will tell you. All of the physical stuff can change, but if you haven't dealt with the emotional stuff, you're going to be in the same boat. You're going to keep going through those same patterns. So this is less physical, more emotional. And the Four of Cups, if you notice, he's got Three of Cups upright. His hands are kind of crossed. He's pouting. He feels like, well, what do I have to be thankful for? What's going right for me? There is a sense of him being like, you know, things are not good enough. Four of Cups is really a card that comes up that's like, listen, whatever has happened in the past has happened. Don't get so fixated on what's not working. Don't lose sight of the fact that you've got this hand handing you an Ace of Cups saying, love is on the way. Whether this is a renewal in a relationship with yourself, whether this is the opportunity to connect with somebody romantically new who's going to come in, if this is putting an emphasis and saying you got to fill your own cup, right? These are the kind of things that I see with the Four of Cups. So it's saying, don't get so caught up in what's happened in the past that you're delaying the healing, right? And you can't rush the healing either, because I feel like you've experienced a lot of physical change. Whether you cut people out, you cut things, you change things about yourself, it's saying that you're like, I don't understand. I've done all of this stuff. Why am I still not seeing the changes that I want to see? Realize that, similar to the Tower card, we need to actually clear everything out to bring in the new. And I would focus on where you've come thus far in the physical or emotional journey, rather than on reflecting on, well, I don't understand. Why hasn't love shown up yet? Why hasn't this, you know, kind of come together for me? Why am I not feeling better? Took 18 months and lost 14 pounds. Oh, fucking awesome. To me, it sounds like if you got a divorce, you lost way more than 40 pounds. It sounds like you lost like at least 200. So when you think about it, I would say, there's almost this delay, right? Where you're just kind of like, I don't understand. I lost the weight and I got rid of it, but why do I still feel like shit? Well, because there can be some sense of you not seeing yourself appropriately, right? I've seen so many Sag risings who have told me, I don't understand. I lost the weight. I got the plastic surgery. I dumped the girlfriend or the boyfriend. I cut them off. And, you know, now I'm like, I'm still seeing myself in the old way, right? So whether it's body dysmorphia issues or it's you not loving yourself enough or not really giving yourself credit for the process that you've gone through to get to where you are now, some of you guys are also having this like kind of identity crisis where you're like, what the fuck? I'm not who I used to be, but I certainly don't know who I'm becoming yet. Give yourself time for this process to come together. You got so many planets going into Capricorn. Venus is going retrograde. Your style may change. Your values may change. Fill your cup up and give yourself all the pats on the back for how far you've come, because when your emotional mindset shifts, everything else is going to change. Okay? Sending you lots of good vibes. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know how it goes. Am I missing anybody? Those of you guys who are still tuning in, we're doing live readings still. We're going to call a last call pretty soon. So if you want to get your reading in, or if you are a level 3, I'm happy to help you. And make sure we didn't miss anybody. Actually, I think we had, do we have somebody else that popped in? Rachel Parks, love some insight on romance. Feeling frustrated. Virgo rising, Taurus sun, Gemini moon. All right, Rachel. Let's see what's going on. You are so very welcome, Heather. So happy for you. Be stoked for yourself. That's a lot to go through in 1 year. You're doing great. All right, Rachel, let's see what's going on. So Virgo rising, you got Venus, Pluto in your 5th, Taurus sun in your 9th, Gemini moon in the 10th. So what can the cards tell us about Rachel's romantic life and what she needs to be aware of? Oh, those wanted to come together, okay? Here we go. Page of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, and the Moon, 5 of Coins. You know, what's going on here? Do you have somebody that you're taking up with, but they're like hot and cold, in and out? What's happening? Do you have a water sign that you're interacting with? Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio? Or has there been somebody who's like on and off, hot and cold, they're in and then they kind of check out? Is there anything like that going on? Did they give you the impression that they're not sure what they want? Or is there a bit of back and forth? Page of Cups reverse can represent somebody who it was like almost like there was an offer, but it either feels like it keeps getting delayed or it's falling through or it's hard for you to read their feelings. Then you've got the Moon card coming up with the Ace of Pentacles. Literally, it's like, are you in or are you out? Is this something I invest time in or not? Do I get the impression? Yeah, totally. Pisces and Venus. Okay, he's been in and out for 2 years. You're not going for 3. Okay, so the one thing that I would say to you is I keep thinking about, especially if you're a Virgo rising, what's going to happen around the full moon in Cancer, which is going to be around mid-January. This is also talking about a full moon that's going to happen. Yeah. In the new year, so in about a month's time, that's when you're going to get your answer. Here's the deal. 5 of Pentacles reverse is talking about shifting gears and coming out of a situation where you've been left out in the cold. You're not being told everything. And I don't mean that in a sense of like, you know, other people, but the moon coming up with the Ace of Pentacles reversed is you going, I don't know, I don't feel safe. It doesn't feel like this person's completely in. To me, it feels like it's not smart to invest my time, my energy, my money, my resources on this person. They're making me feel like ultimately, if I do get more emotionally involved, or if I do dig deeper, I'm going to realize that, you know, they're not necessarily completely in or going to be giving me what I need. Five of Pentacles reverse is coming out of a period of feeling stuck or stagnant, or maybe not getting the love that you deserve. So that's the other thing, is like looking at these cards, I would take a big step back and I would like rearrange the energy. Like you kind of almost need to check this person and make them realize that like you can't be treated as an option. And I would almost tell you, just be mindful of how much time or energy or money or resources. Like Virgo risings, you guys love to be helpful and give gifts and acts of service and go above and beyond to do things for people. This is not somebody I would be doing this for right now. I wouldn't be making big changes in my schedule. I wouldn't be making heavy investments emotionally or physically into this person. I would take a step back and almost like check out, because to me it seems like when you stop feeding it, or when you're stopping this consistency of being the one who checks in or follows up or keeps things going, it's going to send a message that's like, hey, I'm not continually just going to be a giver. I need to have something that I'm getting in return as well. And I don't mean gifts. I mean time. I mean energy. I mean consistency. Because the moon seems to kind of suggest that you're going to realize within a lunar cycle that he's not completely all in. I also feel intuitively like this is about you being the one who listens to your intuition, or even a reading, if you've been doing readings for yourself or with other people, and you being the one who's going to snap back and pull out before he does. Like, I really want you to hear me on this, because I feel, just knowing what I know about your chart, there's going to be a huge shift that's going to happen mid-January. I know that. A full moon in Cancer opposing all these planets in your fifth is like a determination of a friend who says, hey, stop wasting your time on this guy. Or, you know, he says, oh, we're just friends, we're cool. And you're going to be like, wait, what? Rather than waiting until that happens, start pulling back now and reserving your emotions or your time, so you don't feel like you're putting a lot into somebody when really your energy is probably better spent holding off and waiting to see if he's actually going to meet you halfway, right? Page of Cups reverse is somebody who just kind of fucks around. They play games, you know, they're flirty, but they don't necessarily manifest as somebody who is all in, right? They're kind of lost. Venus in Pisces is definitely a sign who has a tendency to, or a placement that has a tendency to not realize what they have until it's gone, or they're used to not getting the love that they need or deserve. So it's not until people avoid them or, you know, take space from them or ignore them that they're like, oh my God, where did you go, right? And if you have Jupiter in your fifth, especially if it's in the line of fire of the Venus retrograde, Jupiter is the traditional ruler of your seventh house. So Venus going back and forth anywhere near in conjunction to your Jupiter is very likely to bring you in a partner that I think is going to be a better match. There may be more romance. Like the horoscope for you, you know, mid-March all the way into June next year is really good when it comes to relationships, especially a Venus retrograde by your Jupiter. I can't tell you this enough. Will most likely materialize as bringing you in another person. So know your worth. Definitely don't be entirely too available, and don't invest too much into this person time or energy wise. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, it's gonna station, Rachel, Venus is gonna station on your Jupiter. I cannot imagine a much more romantic, abundant, better opportunity for you than that. So as we get into the ending of the Venus retrograde, which will be taking place the end of January, you're going to see why certain people faded out that brought you something better. Calling last call, guys. I know we got somebody who snuck in here. Cecilia. Oh, excuse me. Selena. Selena, let's take a look at your question. Okay, I paid you for one card reading. Love life question. Just got out of a relationship. Wondering, is there someone else coming into my life? I'm an Aquarius sun, Aries rising, Scorpio moon. Well, if you just got out of a relationship and you're an Aries rising, you have got your 7th house ruler, Venus, going retrograde, conjunct Pluto in your 10th. Ooh, and you have Venus in Cap. What degree is your Venus? So much of the Aries rising Venus retrograde is going to be about a huge transformation in regards to your status in the world. So it can be things like, I was in a relationship, now I'm single, I was an employee, now I've been fired, or now I'm starting my own business. So for Aries risings, this is very common. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. So you going through this whole like, okay, now I'm single, somebody else coming in is definitely a big piece of the puzzle. Really watch for when Mars and Venus are moving through your 10th house, which will be like the end of February going into March, because that will materialize as your chart ruler and your 7th house ruler coming together in the 10th house. And you may find a longer lasting, more serious, stable relationship. People who have Venus in Capricorn natally, this Venus retrograde is like going to show you like who is and is not in your corner, regardless of degree. And people who have cardinal on all of the 4 angles as well. So it's a big turning point for you. If you find out your degree, let me know. But I will say anything and everything from 11 degrees of Capricorn to 26 degrees is going to get hit by this transit. So pretty much almost everybody who's got natal placements in Capricorn is going to feel the effects of this. And even if you don't, if you're an earth sign or a cardinal sign, you're really going to feel it. So let's see what the cards have to say about who may be coming into your life or what you need to know about the future of your romantic life. All right. So we've got the Emperor, the King of Cups, the Devil. Is it done though? Like, is it done with this person? I have to know. You know, this can be talking about the energy between Aries and Capricorn. You got a King of Cups coming up reverse, which is telling me like the way that things were left with this other person makes me feel like there's still static here. I don't know how long you guys were together. I don't know what happened, but I got to tell you, the King of Cups reversed is almost insinuating that somebody is not completely emotionally satisfied with how this was left, how you guys went through a breakup, what you guys said to each other. He feels like he's got some issues revolving around like loose ends or letting go of control or feeling like he doesn't want to let things go. I feel like he's having a hard time showing it to you. So this isn't saying you can't move on to another relationship. You can. But we've got Aries and we've got Capricorn that are at odds with each other. You are Aries, being an Aries rising. All of the squares that are happening from Aries to Capricorn makes me feel like it's challenging you and your ability to take control of matters, right? You're going to see more strength when Mars enters Capricorn and you see Mars moving with Venus, where there's definitely going to be more assertiveness going on in relationships and you will have more control. My advice is, if it's done, let it be done. Don't open that door, especially with a retrograde going on around your natal Venus. If somebody comes back and they say, hey, can we talk about it? And they try to talk to you, it's likely not going to go over very well. You're going to see a situation, he's in Aries, okay. You're going to see a situation where he's going to be like, well, I don't understand. Why can't we just talk about it? He might want to fight with you about it. Or he might want to try to say, you know, well, you did this and you did that. No, you are cutting ties, purging, detoxing emotionally from whatever it is that's gone on with this person. Emperor reversed is quite literally an Aries or a man who's got a strong Mars placement, who's very angry and pissed off and feels like he didn't have control. Maybe you ended it before he did. Maybe you got the last word. Whatever happened, his energy is all over the place. So you need to like sage and cleanse and do whatever you got to do to clear this out. 2, King of Cups coming up with the Devil card is also saying that this is somebody who's got negative emotions, negative intent. Maybe he's blaming you for things. Maybe this is somebody who has vices or has bad emotional habits or quite literally like issues. Like sometimes when the Devil comes up with the King of Cups, this can be somebody who's emotionally manipulative, or somebody who drinks a lot, or somebody who indulges in drugs or alcohol or bad emotional behavior, which he'll use to kind of like manipulate you and keep you around. Like, don't let this person back in. What I like about the Devil reverse, though, is it's saying like you're breaking free of these bounds. So if you've been in a relationship with somebody who's like, you're the problem, it's you, and they're just beating you down, beating you down, beating you down. Now you've gotten to the point where you're like, you know what, that's it, I'm out, and he can't handle it. King of Cups reversed is also saying like, watch out for like really moody and emotional people. Watch out for water signs who come in and may want to kind of glob on right now, or maybe too emotional when you're in the process of like, I'm still healing. I do feel Like being a Aries rising though, you're going to see that in this next couple of months with Mars and Venus moving together, you may meet somebody through work, right? You may find a situation where through your professional life or your professional endeavors or somebody that you meet through work or a superior or a boss, there can be some temptation. You have somebody that's coming on to you, talking to you, somebody who you've met in some professional fashion. And there is some kind of sense of like, oh, I don't know if we can go there, right? Very Venus, Pluto in the 10th house. I don't know if I can go there. The guy or client at work, the boss that's like hitting on you. Be mindful of that as well. I would say like be really cautious. Try to keep it all business related. Focus more on clearing this guy out. I know that like Saturn going deeper into your 11th house, trining anything you have in the 7th, is definitely going to magnify and give you the opportunity for new relationships. But this guy's vibes is all over the place. We got to clear this out before you bring in somebody new. Look for that. My ex from 15 years ago came back in the picture. No, I mean, Venus retrograde. I'm not saying this because it's Venus retrograde, because it's Venus retrograde over your natal Venus, right? People come and go during a Venus retrograde in general because it's about relationships and reevaluation in relationships. So I would say like, because it's so close to Pluto, it's about changing and transforming. To me, the cards are saying you've got people who have their tentacles on you. And if you have a natal Venus in retrograde, it can be about people coming back who want closure. They want to clear that out. You need to know something that you didn't know before. But it's my perspective that when you're dealing with an ex coming back during a Venus retrograde, especially conjunct Pluto, it's almost like they have a poison apple and they're going to go, here, do you want some of this? And you have to be really careful if you're actually going to take the bait. Ask yourself, do I need that lesson again? Especially the fact that it's coming up in the midst of a retrograde. Think about what happened. Think about the bad emotional patterns and the habits. Think about the patterns that you have fallen into with men that seem to kind of want to control or not want to get out of their funk, right? And listen, I'm not saying that it can't work. I'm more fixated on you clearing out the past energies and being strong. So whoever is around, whether it's some guy from your past or somebody who you meet with, whoever's still standing in March going into April, I have more faith for, right? So I get the impression, you know, you got to focus on this at least until you get to the end of Capricorn season. So you need a good man detox, sage everything, clear everything out until you get to about the end of January. At that point in time, things are going to get clear. Don't go back to the past. Be careful. And if you're taking up with somebody from the past, as long as he's not Mr. King of Cups reversed, who's, you know, too emotional, drinking, a little mixed up, I'm very weary of Pluto and Venus conjunct in your 10th though, because you are going to deal with a lot of guys who are having a difficult time going through transformations, and they'll come back going, can you help me? Can you help me through this? Right? And the Emperor is you also. So it's Aries. It's wanting to kind of get you upright and feeling like you're in control. Everybody has to abide by your boundaries. Everybody has to abide by your space. And if they can do that and they're still hanging on at the end of March, okay, great. But not the guy that you broke up with. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know what happens. I'm excited to see what happens for you, because I definitely think a Venus retrograde in the 10th house is a very big, big shift in regards to your love life, but also your career. Hopefully that was helpful, Selena. Hey, Sharon, you snuck in there. What can I answer for you? Let me know what your question is, and I will pull some cards for you. You are very, very welcome. I have Venus in Cap too, girl. You gotta be boss lady. Don't take any shit. All right, Sharon. So let's take a look at your question. I see this, but I don't see your question. Oh, there it is. Cap rising 13 degrees. Where is my romantic life headed? Married over 20 years. Ooh, girl. Venus going retrograde on your ascendant. Let's take a look. So this is for Sharon. She wants to know, where is her romantic life heading? 20 years is an interesting number. That is always dealing with nodal transits. So that is important. You are coming into a 3/4 Saturn square. So that's important too. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 2 of Wands reverse, Hermit reverse, 9 of Swords. Here's the feeling that I'm getting here. 2 of Wands in the Hermit card talks a lot about re-strategizing what direction you're going in and turning inward and focusing on the journey, the lesson, the spiritual purpose, right? I think of Virgo being associated with the Hermit card, and Virgo is the ruler of your 9th house if you're a Cap rising. I think about what happened during Virgo season and where that kind of set you on the path of doing some soul searching. To me, it seems like there can be some stuff that's coming up that can be affecting either your physical or your mental health. And that's really a result of the 9 of Swords, anxiety. Wondering if something is actually going to get better. Wondering if something is going to be cleared out. Now, 9 of Swords reverse means that you're falling away from these old habits or patterns. You're letting them go. Maybe you've been holding back and expressing to your partner that you need more. That you need more time to grow, more time to experience life. I think about Uranus also in your 5th house. That does make you want to be more adventurous, and whether that's like in terms of your sex life or wanting to be more open and actually going and traveling places and learning about culture or indulging in new hobbies. So there's a lot of things coming up for you with this Venus retrograde that's activating both your 5th and also your 9th. That tells me like you're kind of feeling like your horizons are being stunted in a way. 2 of Wands reversed is like, what's the point? Where is this going? You know, is this going to expand? Are we going to continue on together? Are we going to continue on and travel together or see the world? Are you noticing that you are either feeling a little restless or that you're feeling a little wanderlust and that you're wanting to do things and you don't know how to communicate or express that to a partner? Is that coming up for you? Equally, lack of sleep, not properly managing anxiety or holding back and having conversations about things that are really important to you can also create some problems. Now, the Hermit reverse can talk about shutting down, shutting your energy down, not being open, not being vulnerable, avoiding certain truths that you don't want to see, right? Usually when the Hermit's upright, he goes away, he does his reflection, he looks at it, he realizes, okay, this is what I've been missing, let me do this work, and then he returns back into society. When he's reversed, he's shutting down. It's telling me that there's almost like a spiritual crisis that's happening right now in your life, and you can't quite figure out why, and you can't quite figure out what's missing. You've got the Magician coming up with a King of Swords, so I feel like what's interesting here is this can be like getting the reading in general and somebody being like, hey, you know, what's going on above is not matching below. This is a huge turning point for a lot of earth signs this and next month because, you know, when transits are happening in the skies, it affects everything beneath us. That's why we study and believe in astrology, right? So when Pluto, the god of death and transformation and rebirth, is meeting with Venus and they're kissing each other several times and passing and going back and forth, to me, it seems like there's temptation to see what else is out there, but I don't really see it so much for you sexually. I see it more being like, you know, am I needing to explore more of myself? Am I needing to transform bits of myself? Are there things that I'm feeling passionate about that I'm shutting down or putting a lid on or like kind of avoiding that's really intense and really scary? There can be really intense conversations that you can have with people over the next month. The King of Swords coming up can be somebody who says to you, you know, here's what I see, and this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to be communicating, expressing. Somebody who can kind of push you into action, into kind of having these conversations. Equally, it can be conflict that comes up where if it is your partner going, what's your problem? What's the deal? What are you not telling me? What's happening? I would say rise to the occasion and communicate. The Magician reverse is telling me that there's something not matching up with what you're thinking about, what you're manifesting, what you're focusing on, what you're dreaming about, and how you're physically showing up. So if conflict is arising, or if people are coming into your life giving you advice, I would say pay attention and participate in those opportunities to have those conversations, right? King of Swords can also be somebody who's very cut and dry. So it can represent a man who you're partnered with who's becoming very harsh and very direct and not so easy to get along with, right? Somebody who can be a little demanding or a little cold. I think for a Capricorn rising chart, you know, Venus ruling your 10th house, which can deal with your responsibility out in the world, your career, and also your 5th house, which is about either children, responsibility to children, or your creative hobbies in general, what you're investing in. I wonder if this is a period of you kind of going, okay, what's missing? Do I need to do more creative work? Does it make sense for me to pivot and shift gears in regards to what I'm doing creatively? On the flip side, it can also be you having to have some harsh conversations with your partner about being like, hey, I need more date nights. I need more intimacy together. I need to feel like we're creating together. Otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? So Venus going retrograde in your first is got you thinking about, do I want to stay married? Do I want to stay partnered? Do I want to stay in this job? Do I like the way that I look? Do I feel good enough? Do I feel like I'm attractive to my partner? Do I feel successful? Avoid all the pitfalls over the next 2 months of like doing things aesthetically to kind of put a patch on it, right? So I would say for some Capricorn risings, I've seen that because some of this unhappiness or this lostness stems from lack of creativity, lack of sex, lack of feeling like somebody's pursuing you, don't go chopping your bangs off, don't get implants, don't put all the Botox and the fillers in your face. Be patient. Venus going retrograde in your first is about falling in love with yourself and all of the things that make you beautiful and make you unique, and not feeling as if you need to make all of these changes to get more attention from people, okay? And this is where things get kind of dicey. Personally, for a Cap rising, I'm not looking at your chart, but I would say like we want to put a hold on this until March. If come March you still feel like you need to do those things, you can move forward. But I encourage you to focus more on the fact that it's not about whether or not you're appearing sexy, it's whether or not you're feeling yourself, whether or not you're giving yourself the love and the attention, and you're building up the self-esteem outside of all of the traps that should make you attractive to other people, if that makes sense. Focus more on taking yourself out on dates, explaining to your partner that you need pleasure, that you need creativity, that you need fun. And if you're not getting it, go and give it to yourself elsewhere by filling your time with things that are artistic or beautiful or fun, or going and doing things that remind you of your youth. That can also be really helpful. So that way you go through the aging process a little bit more gracefully, and it will manifest as a rebirth of also your values and your beliefs. So really scale back. I would say don't shut down, have the conversations, and really be mindful that you're almost in a way subconsciously manifesting some of this conflict so the conversations kind of come out on their own. And you're in a process with Venus going retrograde in your first house of being in a cocoon. Really between now and March, give yourself 90 days. I talked about this in some of my previous videos, you know, Cap rising, prominent Cap, Sun, Moon rising, Venus placements. They need until mid-March for this rebirth. And if you put the energy into yourself for the next 3 months and you're still feeling like you're not getting what you need from somebody else, you're going to have much more confidence and momentum to actually make changes and make the segue in a relationship if you need to. Really, it's up to you. If you need to go away for, you know, a couple days to reflect on this and think about it, you can do that too, but don't not have the conversation, okay? Hopefully that was helpful for you. I appreciate your generous donation. Hope to see you on the channel sometime again soon. I'm going to call it a night, guys. It was lovely getting a chance to spend time with you guys. Oh, there's Phoenix. Hold on. Hi, Phoenix. Let me know if you would like me to do your reading for you, because I know that you're a level 3. You just caught me. Let me know. You are so welcome, Sharon. Definitely stop by. Well, we're usually on Fridays or Saturdays. It just depends. Ooh, jumping cards. Otherwise, unless there's any other level 3 people, awesome. Let me know, what is your question, Phoenix? I would love to answer it for you. Thank you for being a level 3 subscriber. Add you to my list. Make sure I'm like Santa Claus. I need to make sure I get everybody this month before the holidays. So just let me know your question and I will spread. Love life. Okay. All right. So let's see what we need to know about Phoenix's love life. Capricorn. Big time for Cappies. All right, let's take a look. Man, that Temperance card just keeps on keeping on. It's been up all night. Timing, healing, working through things, feeling like certain energies need to come together first. I think it's interesting that the Temperance card is coming up with the Four of Wands because it does kind of talk about serendipitous opportunities or events that may come up over the next 4 weeks. For a Scorpio rising Capricorn, so your sun is somewhere probably in the 3rd house. Part of what's happening for you right now is that there's just a real emphasis on being able to shift gears in terms of how you relate and communicate with other people, right? And if you're a Scorpio rising and you have a Taurus moon and you just had an eclipse that was in Taurus, it's putting a real emphasis in your 7th house. So the good news is that the Astro is on your side when it comes to relationships and partnerships. You know, the Four of Wands, some would suggest, is a card that represents marriage. And I don't necessarily think that's the end all be all goal, but I do think that there is more of a focus here in this particular spread with just being able to feel like you can connect with other people socially and feel more comfortable in meeting people, exchanging, getting out there, things like that. I love that Venus is going retrograde in your 3rd house. I love that there's going to be a real emphasis of planets there. I feel like whether that's being more active in your local community, hanging out on the keyboard, meeting people locally, swiping through apps, things like that is something I would really look for. You can meet somebody who's visiting in town or maybe somebody who's looking to move or relocate. That can pop up. With the Temperance card coming up reversed, though, it's like you're feeling like you're not quite ready or that you're still healing for something or still clearing something out, right? For Scorpio rising, Saturn's in Aquarius. So Saturn is hanging out at the bottom of your chart. It's squaring your moon. It's also squaring Uranus. So there's definitely this huge emotional shift that's happening at the end of this month for you that I would really pay attention to. I think the Knight of Swords reversed also talks about feeling like you don't want to rush into something or that you're iffy about people who are going to be too aggressive in wanting to connect with you. There may be a real emphasis in just learning to remain open and getting yourself into the habit of just going out and socializing again. So that way you're feeling more comfortable approaching people or people approaching you. So the Knight of Swords can be you being more communicative and like learning not to be super standoffish and learning to come more into wanting to share and exchange with people. Cool, you changed jobs. Awesome. With all the planets going into your 3rd house, you may find yourself, you know, working in a different area, talking to new people, being in a new department. So that's good for you too, because it's going to kind of change up your daily routine and kind of get you with some like, you know, fresh faces and new places. Four of Wands can be like places where there's gatherings. It can be a party. It can be a bar. It can be live music, art fairs, things outside. Especially being that Venus is going to be in your 3rd house over the next couple of months. It gives you the opportunity to look for some of these things happening locally or going and looking for events that are also online. So for you, I think this is a matter of just like kind of getting out there and doing more. So that way you get more comfortable with the idea of just like meeting new people. If you left your job, that's awesome. Perfect timing for a Scorpio rising. There's going to be lots of shifts happening for you personally because the 7th house is ruled by Venus, right? And your moon is there. So you've got like this fateful events that are happening where you're going to start connecting with all of these new people that are going to teach you about partnership. And it doesn't mean that you're going to like partner with somebody you're working with, but you may, you know, work with somebody who wants to introduce you to somebody. You may work with somebody who says, hey, let's all go out and interact or have dinner or catch up. And then you end up meeting somebody while you're out. So the more that you're leaning into connecting with people and going out and socializing, especially any of these outdoor events, parties, gatherings, the better. Be mindful that there can be some people whose communication style is a little more brash. So there may be a situation where it's like somebody approaches you and they're kind of like really forward and you're like, it's kind of off-putting, or somebody keeps texting you or calling you or emailing you and keep going over and over and over trying to get a response out of you. And you're like, whoa, let's pump the brakes. Let's take our time. Anybody who's kind of rubbing you the wrong way communication-wise, I would also say that it's really important for you to kind of like shift gears and put up some blocks regarding people who are kind of getting a little intense in how they're communicating with me. I noticed some shifts and followed my instincts. Good. Knight of Swords can also be talking about intuition and learning how to follow your intuition and thinking about it, but not always sharing. So if you do feel like it's time to cut certain people off, or if you do feel like it's time to go somewhere or, you know, engage with somebody, I would say follow that. Timing is a big thing with the Temperance Reverse. It's come up in many of the readings this evening. And so it's kind of saying like a lot of people are being stalled because it's not the right time, because we're coming into retrograde season, we're coming out of eclipses. Energies are still kind of loose and being reorganized to an extent. So hopefully that is helpful for you. Do let me know. Super stoked on the job change. That's very awesome. And I think it's just going to bring you into like a new branch of people that you're going to be spending time around. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll be back at some point this week. We've got the holidays that are popping up, so I'm going to try to figure out when I'm going to be able to pepper in and do a live. I'm looking at my calendar. I don't know. Do I want to do a live around Christmas? I don't know how I feel about that. We'll see. If you guys want me to go live around Christmas, let me know. I'm going to be doing a live on New Year's Day, so I'll definitely be here for that. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell button. If you want to book a reading with me, I've got some openings in January and February for 2022. Check out my website below at beyondtheveiltarot.com. Equally follow my social media if you guys want to see what I'm doing on the daily, and maybe you want some fun astro memes. I don't know. Otherwise, I will see all of you guys very soon. Stay tuned. I'm going to be putting out my weekly astro weather here in the next couple days. And we're going to talk all about some of the energies that are coming towards the end of December and probably what has happened as a result of this full moon. So happy weekend. Happy full moon in Gemini. I hope you guys enjoy. I will see all of you very soon. Take care.